Hello and welcome back to the soap room. This is Jeannie. Tonight we are going to be making the first step in one of the Kate the Goat soaps that I make. This is a very time-consuming soap. It's like a two-part thing, two different soaps I have to mix up. Tonight I'm going to be making and pouring the goats. This goat is my rendition of my goat Kate. So for this one I use cocoa powder for the brown. I use activated charcoal for the black, a little bit of titanium dioxide because she is a white goat with some black and brown moon spots, and no fragrance in this soap. I do not fragrance my goat's milk soaps. So with all that being said, I'm going to put some gloves on and we'll get started. Okay, if that looked really messy to you, it's because it was. I don't know why always when I work with activated charcoal, I make a huge mess. Probably because it's so dark and it's so hard to get off of the wooden parts of my mold. So this is what I start with. And of course, the molds are not full all the way to the top because I want to be able to punch my goat cookie cutter through. These will probably be a little too tall. They usually are. And I usually have to plane off the tops of them so they're flat, which causes a lot of waste, or what you would think is waste, but that's why some of my Kate the Goat soaps look like this. It's because I don't like to waste perfectly good goat's milk soap. So I use all of it. So we're going to let this sit in the mold for a couple days probably. Cut it up, and then I will start the journey of cutting out my goats, which takes me a few days, to be quite honest. I do have some extra goats from the last time I made this soap, so fingers crossed I'm going to get 2 loaves of this soap made out of these goats. Okay, I've unmolded, and I'm going to take my cookie cutter and go down the mold and just put a little impression of the goat in there with the cookie cutter. And then I'm going to cut out each goat individually and run it across the planer a few times just to get a nice smooth work surface on the other side. And then I'm going to start cutting out my goats. Use that line as a guide, and I try to hold the knife up, you know, as straight up and down as possible. And that's partly why I hold the knife like an axe murderer, is to keep it straight up and down, and then also just tension. The soap is thick, so it's kind of hard to get through the soap. Just go back over with the knife and do a little fine tuning, get the rough edges off, and then I get ready to do this about 12 or 13 more times. Okay, after I pour a thin layer of the green soap in, I'm going to go ahead and start placing my goats in there. They pretty much line up. Ooh, broken leg. It happens. They pretty much line up pretty well. Every once in a while one is tall and I decide not to use it, like that one. And I just press them in as tight as they will go. And it's not perfect like a column mold would be, but it works. This last one, it's a little bit wide, so I go to my stockpile of goats and find one that's a little bit narrower and it fits perfect. Okay, now after I pour this second layer of green, I'm going to tap this on the floor really hard for a couple taps just to get any air pockets out from underneath those goats. And then I'm going to start building up the top. I like this to be tall on the top and kind of rounded like a goat, the top of a goat barn. So it just takes a little patience because you got to wait for it to set up without spilling over. And after about 20 minutes, I'm ready to start just building that up and rounding it off on the top. Nothing fancy for the top of this soap. Don't get too picky about this part. So here we go. First one, a little white goat. All the goats will look a little bit different. And I knew I was going to get some white goats, like pure white goats, because my pour, when I poured the goats, they were white on one side and colored on the other. That wasn't my like original design, but it's just how it worked out, which is fine. I love a white goat. They're extra goaty, so no problem with a white goat. It just doesn't really look like Kate, which is fine. So some of you may know that my Kate the Goat soaps are all kind of inspired by my goat Kate, which is my milk goat. Boy, I'm having a hard time with the light here. Let me try to turn this a little bit. That's kind of an interesting looking goat. So Kate, let's see, Kate actually really looks quite a bit like this goat. She's white on the back end, and she has some brown, some black with brown moon spots on the front. She does have a white face, but it's hard to pour soap and make it look exactly like a goat. So we just go with the colors. Even in the soaps that don't have a goat in them, they always have white, black, and brown. So these are kind of like stripy zebra-ish looking goats. That one's kind of cool. I don't stamp these ones because they have the goat in them. Here we go. Maybe if I'm back here, you can see a little better. There we go. That's kind of cool. I don't stamp these bars, obviously, because of the goats. And the reason that I do the green is because my little goat house, which is a goat house that my husband and I built all out of pallets and scavenged materials from our property, is green. I painted it green when we were all done. So I'll insert a picture at the end of Kate, and I'll try to get one of Kate in front of the goat barn, so you can see what my inspiration is here. Oh, these goats are cute. Oh, another white one. So this is a fun bar. I like these. These go really fast. And all goat's milk. I don't fragrance these. I try to use as natural of colorants as I can, which is why I use the cocoa and the spirulina. And what else do I use? Cocoa, spirulina. Oh, activated charcoal. This goat is kind of creepy. No head. What I'll end up doing is I'll probably run this over the planer a couple times until I can see the head. So anyways, these are just fun, obviously very labor intensive bars, but totally worth it to put a goat in the soap. All right, you guys, again, thank you. Okay, one little finishing touch I like to do on these bars when they're still soft is I take a chopstick and I make impressions on the soap, some vertical lines that make it look just like more like a barn building. Then I get any flaky pieces off, I trim it up. And then I'm happy with it.